Today, we're talking about exactly how to manifest. After today's show, you will never second guess this process again. I know it can seem like such an illusory thing, but manifesting is truly quite simple, and we're actually doing it all the time. So, we're going to fully break it down today. So, if you have not, get your notebooks, get your pens, get your pencils, get ready. So, over the weekend, my husband and I started our vegetable and herb garden. So I like to grow things from seed, and you will see in today's episode how planting and growing seeds is one of the best metaphors for manifestation. But over the weekend, we started our vegetable garden. We started growing our herbs. We planted all of the little teeny tiny baby seeds into the dirt. And I could not be more excited because last year we really got into this gardening thing. And I did it. This is a cool story, actually. I did it because I just felt this deep need. I mean, need to plant things in the ground and watch it grow. It felt like it was part of my healing. Like, truly, this is what it felt like for me. It was the middle of summer, which is not the time to plan anything, but I didn't care. I was like, I need to put things into the ground and watch it grow. And what it was evoking for me was that very deeply feminine creation power. Do you know what I mean? It was that feeling of this is literal magic that you can put something into the ground and then just water it and give it sun, and it will grow its roots and produce a whole new thing. And so it was very nurturing for me. It was this time period of like slowing down. I had been in kind of the hustle mode for a while, and it was very it just called me into a slowness. And it changed me, truly. Like, it transitioned me out of that, like, feeling like I had a lot of stuff to get done and I've got to do it and I'm behind and blah, 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 and all this stuff. I just started gardening. And it completely transitioned me into this balanced state. But I want you to hear this. We talk about masculine and feminine energy. Masculine and feminine energy in perfect balance is the key to creation. We know this in terms of creating a baby, right? Masculine and feminine's got to come together to create a new creation, but it's true in life as well. So if I was too much in the masculine, too much in the get shit done mode, and not enough in the feminine mode, which is the like being with the magic, the creation energy, nothing new was getting created. So my slowing down and getting more in touch with that magic actually pulled everything into balance. How cool is that? Okay, let's dive in. Are we ready? So we're talking today exactly how to manifest this very illusory topic that seems like pure magic, and it is, but we can see so many different ways out there. You know what I mean? Like different strategies, different methods for manifesting. So what I'm going to give you is the groundwork. This is the absolute foundation of manifesting. And then the methodology and the different strategies that are out there are all just tools. It's tools to assist what I'm going to teach you today. So when we think about manifesting, we essentially usually think about like manifesting something out of thin air, right? Like it wasn't here before and now it's there. And truly, it can feel like that 100%. I am remembering a time a couple of years ago where I was looking for a cleaner, a dry cleaner. And I was so like just bamboozled, just confused as to how there was not a dry cleaner right by my house. Like we have everything. And for weeks, I was like, where is the dry cleaner? I was Googling it. I was looking around. I found one, but it had like really bad reviews. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And I just kept thinking there has to be a dry cleaner. I really feel like there's one in that parking lot with my grocery store. Like, how can there not be? So mind you, I'm always doing energy work. I'm always working on me in some way. And when you shift your frequency, you are essentially shifting a timeline. So without getting too quantum physicsy today, but essentially you're shifting into a different reality when you shift your energy. This is why the energy work is so important. So I'm always doing that. And so I was looking for this dry cleaner. And then one day I went to the grocery store and the dry cleaner was right next door to the grocery store. It had been there the whole time, at least we think, but I couldn't see it. For whatever reason, the timeline I was on did not see the dry cleaner. And then all of a sudden, boom. Do you know how often I go to this grocery store? I go to this grocery store like 3 times a week, maybe more. And I never saw the dry cleaner until I saw the dry cleaner. So this is one of those things. No, I didn't ask how long. No, I didn't ask how long it was open, but you know how if it was brand new, you would know because it'd be like grand opening, there was something there before, and now you see what I'm saying? I'd shifted a timeline to where it was. And so that's kind of how manifestation feels. It's something that was there the whole time, but you couldn't see it. Or it was, we're going to leave it at that. Okay. So essentially, when manifesting comes into play, we're looking at something we want, right? I want to create this. Could be a thing, could be a circumstance, could be a situation. I want to create this. And so when we start the process, desire is number one. But I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a caveat to desire. Joyful desires come from the heart. Joyful desire is just, it makes your heart just go, oh my gosh. If I could create that, if I could experience that, if I could live that, it literally feels like joy. Okay. There's a joyful desire, and then there is a wounded want. A wounded want comes from the ego. A wounded want basically feels like I need it in order to feel good. I need it in order to feel valid. I need it, and it feels like if I don't get it, I'm going to die. It feels desperate. So these are two very, very different energies. They are both legitimate, okay? One is not right and one is wrong. They are both legitimate. But when we're working with a wounded want, there's healing work up front, okay? So there's healing work before you ever take the first action towards creating that manifestation. So I'm going to explain both ways. Nobody worry, because we all have that negative yearning of the wounded want, right? We all have something that feels like that to us. So in the terms of the joyful desire, we'll start simple and easy, and then we'll go into the wounded one. With a joyful desire, just think about whatever the thing is for you, whatever it is, this beautiful thing that I want to have. And when you feel it, it feels like joy. Doesn't feel like yearning. It doesn't feel like, oh, but I need that like right now. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like, oh my gosh, how beautiful would this be? And you don't have a timeline on it. You don't care if it happens tomorrow, it happens in 2 years. You just love it. That's money right there. Like that is golden, because that is something you will be able to create very easily. So it doesn't matter how big it is because you don't have a timeline on it, right? So you have your joyful desire. When you have that desire, that is essentially the seed of a plant. And that desire, the moment that you say, I think I'm going to start creating this. I think I'm going to start walking towards it. Why not me? Why wouldn't I be? It's my idea. It's my desire. It's coming from the divine, my connection to all that is. I think I'm going to do that. That's the moment you put it into the ground. The moment that you take something from an idea to no, I think I'm going to actually do this. That's the moment it goes into the ground. Now, I want you to truly think in terms of planting something. What do you do next after you plant something? You put it into the dirt. Now, does it matter what kind of dirt you put it into? 100%, right? So when you put a seed into the ground, when you have your desire and you say, I am going to create this, the environment in which you are doing that matters. Now, I don't mean in terms of like you need to be in a different house or anything like that. I mean in terms of you, your energy, and how you feel about it. When you say, I'm planting this into the ground, the thing that the ground you can think about as your belief. Do you believe that you can do this? Do you believe that this is for you? Do you believe that as you plant it and you start moving towards it, it is absolutely inevitable? So the ground is your belief in it. Okay. You plant the seed into the ground. And then what's next? Plant the seed into the ground. What you got to do? You got to nurture it, water it, make sure it gets sunlight, maybe put a little fertilizer in there. You've got to do the actions that are going to help this seed start to grow, start to manifest, start to come into fruition. So, in real life, what that looks like is okay, I've put the seed into the ground. I believe this is what I'm moving towards. This is what I'm going to do. This is happening. This is literally happening. Like that kind of joy around it. And then you say, okay, what can I do? What can I do to nurture the growth of this? And something's going to come to your mind. I promise you, this is just how it works. Something, and it does not matter. Hear me on this. Is anybody taking notes on the steps here? It does not matter what the action is. It doesn't matter. If you receive an action and you're like, that is so small, that will never create this thing, quiet that voice. Any action that you receive that feels like it is in the direction of this vision, this thing that you want to manifest, is the action to take. Because the action is like watering the seed. And then you're going to receive something else to do, something else to do. The actions that you take nurture the growth. And then, and here's where surrender comes in. And I know surrender really trips people up, and I get it. Like, I get it. Because a lot of times we think of surrender and we think don't do anything. No. Surrender is you're not making the seed grow. Surrender is that energy that literally busts the roots out of the seed. Surrender is the magic. You feel me on this? Surrender is the growth process. So in terms of the seed, you don't have to tell the seed to sprout roots. You don't have to tell the seed to grow. You don't have to tell the seed to become a plant. That's surrender. Your job is the action to nourish the seed. The seed is going to do its thing. So when we're thinking about our desires, they start here in the mind. They're a seed. You plant them by saying, I am going to grow this thing. It's happening. And you put it in the ground of belief. And then you start taking action to nurture that seed, whatever it is that you receive to do. Those of you who are watching now, there was an episode I did a couple of weeks ago on how I completely transformed my life. I think it was manifesting the impossible. I think it was that episode. I took the smallest actions. It completely quantum leaped my life. Doesn't matter what the action is, so long as you're receiving is like, okay, that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, that's what I'm going to do next. And I'll tell you this, what is required in this is trust, meaning trust with yourself that the actions that you're receiving are the thing to do. We have not been taught to trust our own minds. Amen. Like we've not been taught that. We've been taught to look for our answers outside of ourselves. Every answer you need is inside. Every answer. So as you decide, I'm going to create this, I will manifest this, and you believe in it and you put it into the ground, you're going to receive what action to take. It's just going to pop into your mind. You're like, okay, what can I do to move this forward? What's available to me? Because a lot of times we'll like make it too big. We're like, well, but I need, $50,000 to do that. So I can't do anything. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Don't do that. You say, what can I do that is available to me right now? Because there's always a way. And as you take those actions are your sunlight. Those actions are your water, nurturing the seed. And the seed is going to do its thing. It's going to grow because that's the magic. So this is that co-creation process. And then you keep going like this. Along the way, you might have doubts that come up. Amen. You might, because we're human. Bless us. You might have doubts that come up. Your job is to work that out. Don't mess with the seed. The seed's doing its thing. When you have a doubt come up, your job is to get in this journal and just write it out. Right now, I have a doubt around blah, blah, blah. And work through it. Is this actually true? Am I making this up? Are there people I know that have created something similar and they have a similar, if not worse, story than I do, a harder story than I do? You work it out until you can get your mind on board with it. So when you do that, that is freeing up more energy because everything is created in the mind first. And a lot of times we have doubt and our instinct is to go and action more. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because as you action, you're then going to manifest that doubt. You're going to start manifesting that energy into fruition. You don't want to do that. So, whenever you have a doubt about your manifestation, go to your journal. Don't double down on action because, again, the seed's doing its thing. And if you don't mess with it, it's going to grow. You feel me on that? Okay. So, you guys got it. Step 1, desire is the seed. Step 2, plant it into a ground of belief. I believe in it. I love it. I know it's happening. Step 3, water and nurture it. What actions do you know to take? And then step 4, surrender the growth process. You don't make the seed grow. The seed grows on its own. You do the actions that nurture its growth. And you're just going to repeat that. Actions, surrender. Actions, surrender. Knowing with everything in your being that the seed knows what to do. We know that, right? Like in terms of when we plant a seed into the ground, we know that the seed knows how to grow. We don't sit there and think, oh, I've got to give the seed a manual for how to grow, right? That's the surrender magic. That's where that comes in. The seed is going to blow your mind with what it creates. While we were planting last night, these seeds were so small. And I was telling Robert, it blows my mind that something so tiny can create this whole big plant. But he's like, that's how all things work. Think about that. Like the faith of a mustard seed, mountains are moved. It's like it's everywhere in our biblical text. But we sit there and we go, I'm not big enough to create that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like a pinpoint creates a whole tree. And you think you're not big enough to create something? Like, let's get real here. Okay. So now, if it's a wounded want, which means from the get-go, you don't really believe in it, but you really want it. A little bit tougher, okay? Don't plant that seed yet. You got me? Because that's like a bad seed, right? It's a bad seed. It's not going to sprout what you want it to sprout. It's going to sprout the wound. And so we've got the joyful desire. Everybody wrote that down? It's simple as can be, isn't it? It's so simple. Let me say this real quick. All the manifestation techniques that you see, they're entirely valid, but what they're for is that part when you doubt. The process is so basic and foundational. Idea, belief, action. So basic, and it will work. The methods and the strategies that you see out in the world are to get you on board when you doubt. So use them. You know what I mean? Like use them to help you out with the process, but don't let them confuse you. The process is very simple. Cool. Okay. So now if you have a wounded want, you're essentially starting out with doubt. You feel me on that? So what you want to do is you don't plant that seed yet. You don't try to willpower your way into believing it, because if you plant a wounded want, it's going to manifest the physical result of your wound. So what that means is like you're going to create an amplified physical reality that shows you don't believe in this. You see, nobody wants that. Don't do that. So essentially, you kind of reverse it. The moment you're like, I really, really want this. And so instead of starting with planting the seed and trying to willpower your belief, you start with, why do I feel like I can't have this? What in me is not feeling like I am worthy of this? Or what in me is afraid actually of having this? What bad thing do I think is going to go wrong? You get in your journal and you work it out until you get to a point where you're like, this is mine. I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait to get started. You work it out until it's a joyful desire. Do you see what I'm saying? So you want to start with a joyful desire always. If you're starting with a wounded want, you start with the journal work to get your mind out of that doubt and into belief. That this is like cultivating the ground. Do you see what I'm saying? With a joyful desire, you're starting with a cultivated ground. It's like it's fertilized, it's ready to go because there's no wound in it. With a wounded want, it's like you've got to prepare the land. And so you're getting yourself on board. You're working out through your journal or whatever technique that you have learned or seen. If you're in my world, you know, I've given you 1,000 different techniques to be able to do this. You work it out first. You get that ground fertile. Why do I not believe that this is possible for me? What if it was possible for me and I'm just afraid of it? Okay, what am I afraid of? So you're working that out first. And then once you get it to joyful desire, you'll feel it. It will feel like, oh my God, I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm so excited to do this. Oh my gosh, why did I ever doubt this? Of course, this is mine. I'm so like ready. Let's go. When it gets to that point, boom, into the ground it goes. Nurture it with what actions do I need to take to start creating this because it's mine and I'm so excited about it. What actions do I need to take? Surrender its growth. What actions do I need to take? Surrender its growth. And boom, bang, beam. Everything starts happening. Now, don't dig up your seed. Don't, don't dig up your seed to see if it's working. What does that mean? That means you're doubting. You've got to believe that that baby seed knows what to do. It knows how to grow. It is not up to you how fast it grows. And I think that's where we get a little as humans because we're like, but I want it tomorrow. Well, then you're still in wounded want. You see what I'm saying? It's not up to you on how fast it comes to be. I have had clients that have put together things and manifested in literally a week. I've had clients who have been working on the same thing for 5 years and it's now starting to come to fruition. And you know what? It's perfectly timed. It wouldn't have worked for her a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's perfectly timed. So we do have to surrender our thoughts of the timeline. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you have a seed whose germination process and growth process takes 4 years for it to really grow a sustainable, beautiful product, you don't want that in a week. It's not going to be good. It's going to be a shell of what it could be. It's going to be meh. You don't want that. So we have to surrender the timeline. And again, if you're in joyful desire, you don't really care so much about the timeline. And I know if you're in a wounded want right now, that can seem impossible. I promise you it's not. I promise you when it's a joyful desire, you're just like, I don't even care when. I'm just so happy to be creating it. I love the process of it. It feels good. Like you can feel the energy of it. You're just like, I love this feeling. This is amazing. And what's so beautiful about that is you're rewarded the whole time. Where with a wounded want, every 2 seconds, you're like looking to see if it's there yet. And then it's painful. And then you're looking to see if it's there yet. And it's painful. And it never gets you anywhere because you're constantly messing with it. And you didn't plant it in belief in the first place. It's never going to come to fruition. It's only going to show you the wound bigger, 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 bigger until you look at the wound. And this is what I think is so beautiful because it's a fail-proof mechanism. The wound is going to get bigger so you can see it and heal it. If it's a joyful desire, the desire is going to get bigger and then you'll see it everywhere. Does this click? Was this helpful? Because I feel like this is absolutely life-changing. And if everyone in the world is in a place to really, really get this, is going to be a whole new level of life. Desi says, very in all caps. Yes. Amazing. Well, I'm so happy to share all the goods with you that I can. You guys want to set an intention for the week? Let's set an intention for the week. Intention is like a seed. Intention creates its own fulfillment. So what is your intention for the week? What do I want mine to be? Ooh, okay. Mine is very much going to be in this new beginnings energy. So, okay. My intention for the week is to take the actions on the seeds of the ideas I've already had. I've already planted them, but I haven't taken much action on them yet. This week, I am going to take action on my new beginning seeds, these ideas that I have that I want to create. I think you guys are going to be very interested in them because it's so good. It's so beautiful. Desi said, I just sent it to my mastermind girls. Yay! Yes, please share the video. Share this with everyone who needs it. It's how we create our ripple effect in the world. All right, my loves, I'm going to wrap because I've got to teach my module. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Please share with whoever you think that this will benefit. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Goodbye, my loves.